Evening, everybody, and welcome to the Rangers Journal podcast. I'm your host, Scotty, and we're here tonight to preview Benfica on Thursday night at Ibrox. I think it's a 5:45 kickoff, unfortunately. First of all, I'm going to welcome my two guests. Thommo, how you doing, mate?
Evening, Scotty. Yeah, doing brilliantly, mate. I can't wait for the game tomorrow. Just want to get work done out the way and then get out and watch a game. So, yeah, brilliant, mate.
Right, definitely. And then we've got Dean Butland. Dean, how you doing, mate?
I'm very well, thank you, Scotty. How are you doing, mate?
Aye, not bad at all, not bad at all.
Good.
We're going to quickly touch upon Hibs and the Jeff Winter podcast. For anybody that's watching, we had Jeff Winter on a show on, what day is this, Monday night. Thommo, what's your overall thoughts on Hibs and the podcast itself?
Yeah, very quickly, I thought the Hibs game, we were very professional. Wasn't a vintage performance, but we done what we needed to do. The decisions for the penalty and the two sending offs were spot on, and we just saw the game out. Didn't have to exert too much energy that we didn't need to use. So professional performance. And in terms of the podcast, I thought it was excellent with Jeff Winter. I think the podcast is coming along brilliantly anyway, but getting someone of his caliber on to talk about the refereeing situations, decisions, yeah, brilliant, really engaging, and yeah, I really enjoyed it.
You're on mute, mate.
Fuck's sake. Any standout performers for you against Hibs, Thommo?
Don't think anyone was amazing. I thought Lundstrom was back to his usual self, the heartbeat in the midfield there, and I thought Ridvan done well coming from left back, getting us forwards. But as I say, I don't think there was any major standout. I just thought everyone done their job professionally and got the job done back down the road into the semi-finals.
And Dean, we're going to pose the same question to you, mate. What's your thoughts on the pod and Hibs?
I loved listening to Jeff and a wee bit of insight to Middlesbrough and whatnot. It was quite good to hear him and why he fell in love with Rangers. I'm a bit of a geek when it comes to things like that. So, and then I quite like his Motherwell rule. I really like that because how many times you get past Motherwell and hours, days later, you're still talking about it. And do you know what I mean? I actually quite like that. So maybe try and implement that in my life. I don't know if it'll work or not, but and I think he just came on and just echoed what everybody else was saying. You know, being a referee or not, and I'm going to say this bluntly, but if it wasn't Rangers, there would never have been as much hysteria to it. We went and we'd done a very professional job, team effort, into the semi-finals. As Thommo said there, we never needed to exert ourselves to get, the Butland have one save to make. Hibs didn't look like threatening, even when they had 11 men on the pitch. So just seen the game out, and already had a couple of injuries, obviously, so a wee bit more conscientious of game management in that respect as well. Happy days into the semis. Trebles come in.
I'm going to ask you one question, Dean. What did you think of Fabio Silva on the left-hand side?
He's coming into a game, isn't he? The fact that we obviously had Sima there, and then he got injured. Cortez came in, like, oh, that's all right, at least we've got somebody to, and then Cortez gets injured and Silva's looking like it's that's probably his preferred position out there on the left. Coming into a game, he ran his Silveraga against Benfica, so I think, as quite a lot of people had said, maybe rested him on Sunday, but playing and performing the way he did, I think was definitely warranted his size coming into a game for us.
Aye, fair enough. Curry's come in with a wee comment for you. He's asking how it feels to be named England number one.
Dream come true, mate.
Right, so on to Benfica on Thursday. Just want to get your feelings and your thoughts overall on it first. Thommo, what's your expectation for Thursday?
I expect us to start fast, get into them. The crowd will be up for it, as they usually are on a European night at Ibrox. And it's interesting seen some interviews with, ex-Benfica players who have come out and said that the Ibrox crowd is like a 12th man, and some have even said they don't know if the Benfica players will be able to handle it. So I think it'll be a fast start from us, try and get an early goal. But potentially could be a night of being patient. Benfica are a good side. We've seen that. They're good attacking, but they're certainly very to be got at defensively. And I think, as I say, if we come out with blocks, start them fast, try and get that early goal. Don't give them time to breathe. I think we'll be in for a good night.
Dean, what about you, mate? Same question.
Yeah, with massive opportunity for us to get to the quarters. Obviously, but the fact that it's so close, we've put a few doubters to rest again, and it's our game you lose. It really is. But that, we're at this point in Europe because we're a good side, and we have been throughout the years, and a lot of those players who've done well for us previously are there just now. So that experience will be fundamental to the ones that have maybe perhaps played on this sort of stage in Europe. So, and as Thommo just said there about what ex-players are saying about the 12th man, yeah, Ibrox, didn't let them breathe, foot on the neck, first 20 minutes, we'll give them a wee fright and make sure that we're obviously in front. But it'll be a close game. It'll be a close game, I think. But we'll have enough to see them out, I reckon.
I'm just going to come in on Corey's comment. Anybody that's got any questions tonight, as is just a quick preview pod, fire them in and we'll try and get through them. So Curry, Munchafe, stands Ibrox around his own pod, so go over and check it out. It's a good laugh. He said Thursday's a free hit. Nobody's really expecting us to win. It's no big deal if we don't go through. He's wanting to prioritise the league and a cup, which is fair enough for me. I wouldn't complain too much if Rangers get put out because every cloud's got a silver lining and all that jargon. And aye, that's where we're at just now. So we'll do a wee bit of work on Benfica first, boys. Thanks to Ross for making up his slides. It's a much better job than what I would have done with it. So Benfica won 3-1 the other night. The thing I noticed most from their game, Thommo in their starting lineup, is that Angel Di Maria was an unused substitute. So on the left side, you've got just player ratings. You can't really see them. And then on the right-hand side, it's interesting. That's the attacking flow of the match. What kind of challenge are you expecting on Thursday?
Yeah, as I say, I think they've got some really good attacking players. We saw it last week. The boy Neres out on the left for the first 20, 25 minutes. He gave Tav a real, I wouldn't say going over, but he gave him a real test. It took a while for him to get to grips with him. Obviously, Di Maria, his quality speaks for himself. And I really liked the boy they had up front, Cabral. He looked a really good player. It's interesting that they put Di Maria on the bench at the weekend if they are saving him for this game, as they're only a point behind Sporting Lisbon in the league. So you'd think that the league would be the priority and get the points there. So it's interesting that maybe they are looking to this and this competition as a whole that they could potentially win. So it's not going to be an easy game. Attacking wise, our defence and midfield are going to have to be switched on. But when we're attacking, I do think we've got enough there to trouble them. And what I liked in the first leg, especially the first half, we were picking up a lot of second balls. We were going long balls to Dessers or Silva. And if it got cut out, our midfield was picking them up. Need to be doing that again. Doesn't need to all be intricate passing. Sometimes route one can be a good way of playing, and I think we'll see that again tomorrow night. But it'll be a tough test. Last 3 games we've played against them now over the last 3-4 years have all ended in draws, so suggests the teams are very evenly matched, I would say.
Dean, I'm going to kind of not change direction a wee bit, but I was watching the Arsenal game last night. They were playing Porto at home. Porto are behind Benfica in the league I think they're third. They ran Arsenal really, really close last night. We don't seem to have a problem against Portuguese teams, do we?
No, they almost have like a chest out, shoulders back swagger. And which is quite bizarre because, I mean, you just commented on how good Porto are. And I'm sure when we played Porto that season, they had maybe got into the quarters of the Champions League the season before, or maybe, I can't remember, is it the same? I can't remember, but they'd done really well in the Champions League in terms of progression. And then we had them and, we're more than a match for them, beat them at home. Did we draw with them away? I can't remember. But was that right, Thommo? Aye.
I think we did draw with them away. I think.
Right. And I mean, so that was sentiment enough to me to know that, we didn't fear anybody, but when it comes to Portuguese sides, we just seem to have a wee bit of maybe more of a bite and a point of proof for some reason. I don't know. I remember playing Porto years ago when Dado Purcell was in the side and
that's right.
Aye, and he got booked for headbutting a boy. I don't know why that sticks in mind, but it does. I'm sure had the bandage on and that, didn't he? But even going to back then, and they had Diego playing as a number 10, there was some side, and so we just seem to have a different bite about us, if that makes sense. In my opinion, and I'm confident that we'll, draw with them or beat them. But there's no fear in the side when we play them. You can see that.
Aye, definitely. I'd need to agree on it. I think Rangers overall love being the underdogs in these big ties. I mean, you've seen it on a run to Europa League final under Gio. We seem to thrive when we've not got expectation in our shoulders. In Europe, not in the league. I'm not saying Rangers try to bed or anything like that. I'm not saying that at all. But I just think in Europe, it seems as if they can go out and they can play with that pressure off. Would you agree with that, Thommo?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as Curry said earlier, it is pretty much a free hit. Being greedy, I want us to win everything. I don't want us getting knocked out and prioritising something over something else. I want us to win as many trophies as we can. But I get what he's saying. We're getting a reputation in Europe now as not being the pushovers. I was reading something the other day that in the time we've sort of been back in the top flight, we've contributed, I think it was 63 points to the Scottish coefficient, and every other team in Scotland who have been in Europe at the same time have contributed 63.5. So we've carried Scottish football in Europe. We had one bad season in the Champions League. There was reasons for that, but in terms of the Europa League, we just seem to turn up and play well and get results. Don't know what it is. Don't know if the players feel there's a freedom, there's a bit of pressure off them. I don't know, but whatever it is, we just seem to keep turning up and doing the business.
Dean, I'm going to pull up the predicted lineups now. You and Thommo had went for pretty much the same lineup. The two of you went for Super Jack Butland in goal, James Tavernier, Connor Goldson, John Suter, Ridvan Yilmaz, John Lundstrom, Mohamed Diamonde, Tom Lawrence, Rabbi Matondo, Fabio Silva, and Cyril Dessers. What's your thoughts on that? What made you go with that lineup?
I mean, now at the point where, we're in a chance of progression, I know what Curry was saying, that it's a free hit and stuff, and kind of saying what Thommo was saying there, we do have a reputation now. I know, and you would think that maybe perhaps resting players to concentrate in the league. And is there the trust there to rest players? Like, for example, resting Fabio Silva and Scott Wright coming in? Or do you know what I mean? Or maybe resting John Suter and Ben Davies coming in, resting Yilmaz Barisic coming in. I don't really think there's a trust there that those players are going to come in, because one thing that Clement doesn't want to do is get his arse handed to him, which previous managers has done and for us in Europe. So that's one thing that you know about Clement's team. If we do end up unfortunately getting beat. It'll be a close game and whatnot. So that team that I went with pretty much is what we have to choose from now is probably the strongest team. And obviously there's arguments for Lawrence and Steady and Cantwell coming back, but I think you'll get an hour or so out of Tom Lawrence, and you'll see Cantwell coming in and that wee bit more to control further ahead of the midfield. Maybe when needed, that Cantwell is really good at doing, if that makes sense. So that was why Matondo's, although he's just back, there's no really any other option for the right wing, unfortunately. So he is the best option, and let's hope he can produce the type of form that he has in Europe before against PSV and whatnot. So aye.
Thommo, Dean brought up a good point here about squad rotation. This is the first time in consecutive matches that Philippe Clement stuck with the same team. I think this team that played against Hibs was the same team that played against Benfica. And the only change in the lineups, Rabbi Matondo for Dujon Sterling, essentially. Can you see him going with the same tomorrow night? Do you think the result against Motherwell has made him think twice about rotating a lineup?
Possibly, but I think we're just sort of, especially in the forward area, we're running out of players now, and we don't have the luxury of maybe rotating and resting people. And the way I sort of see it now is we've got 2 games against Benfica and then Dundee on Sunday. Then we've got a 2-week break, get players back from injury. So these players are just being asked to go empty the tank in these 2 games. You'll get a wee rest, and hopefully we'll have players back ready for the final push in the last part of the season. But I think against Kilmarnock, Barisic didn't cover himself in glory. Ridvan, there was question marks about how many games he could play, because he'd play a couple and he'd be out injured for weeks on end. He's getting a good run of games now, so Clement is thinking, yeah, I can trust this guy now. He's a number 1 left back. I don't need to drop him. Same with the centre backs and Diamande and Lundstrom in midfield. And Tom Lawrence again has been playing well. So once we get Cantwell back in there and get another body in, it gives him more options. But I think, as I say, he's just going to say to the boys that he's got available, 2 games, lads, go and empty the tank, get a 2-week little break and get people back from injury, and we'll have the final push for the last part of the season.
I'm going to come in on my lineup. Obviously, the only change I've made is Matondo. No, is it? Matondo on the right. Todd Cantwell in for Tom Lawrence. Now, I think that midfield 3 of Lundstrom, Diamande and Cantwell, that's potentially where you're going to see Clement change. I think you'd maybe see Diamande come out and Tom Lawrence come in. I think there was a spell where under Clement where he's went kind of with that midfield 3 and it was favoured. I think it was just before Cantwell got injured. Diamande looked a wee bit tired against Hibs towards the end of the season on Sunday. I mean, it's fair enough considering this is essentially another pre-season for him. I hadn't kicked a ball for November since he signed for us in January. Dean, I'll come to you. What's your thoughts on a kind of a potential midfield combo of Lundstrom, Lawrence and Cantwell? Could you maybe see that happening on Thursday night?
No, because I think what Diamande brings defensively, right, I think we are maybe going to be needing that, although we've got Lundstrom there and, he's the sitting midfielder, but like Diamande's really, really good in defence and especially getting the ball. The amount of times that guy gets an interception, or the second ball, and he's so comfortable taking the ball in tight areas and he's strong on the ball, strong in the tackle. I'd want, Lawrence or Cantwell being a bit further forward for me, and let Diamande do that. Does that make sense?
Aye, completely. I just wanted to know your thoughts on it, because now that I think there's a wee bit of wiggle room with Cantwell being back, that there could be that element of rotation. Thommo, what's your take on it, mate?
Yeah, I mean, I get what Dean's saying, but we have seen earlier in the season Lawrence playing a little bit further back in that midfield with Lundstrom. So he can certainly do it, and he's got the ability to do it. So if needs must, if, say for example, Diamande just runs out of legs or gets injured, whatever, I'd have no problem with Lawrence in there. I think he would do a job for us. And Cantwell, I say it was unfortunate when he got injured because he was really coming onto a game and imposing himself, scoring goals, getting assists. So hopefully he can pick that up. But if we get an hour out of Lawrence tomorrow night and then get Cantwell on, I'd be more than happy with that. And same with Matondo. We've got hopefully McCausland will be fit. He trained a bit today, I think. So hopefully again an hour out of Matondo.
I'm going to come at it for a different angle. Dean, see how you said you'd prefer Diamande in there. I think that's because he's more a box-to-box midfielder. He's a European type football player, if that makes any sense. Do you not think Rangers need to play Lawrence on Thursday though to get more of a goal threat going forward?
That's pretty much why I'd said that, because I want Tom Lawrence further forward because of the goal threat that he does bring. I mean, it's, again, I think I've said this on here in the chat and whatnot. It's like absolutely so good to see just a player just getting the ball, head up, wanting to have a dig, like just get. Not to I'm not saying in this pedestal, but it just reminds me of Alberts. Alberts used to get the ball in the middle of the park, head up, wanted to have a dig. That's what Tom Lawrence wants to do, and he's a very intelligent runner as well. And I think when he was at Derby, he played a lot of games coming in off the left. If memory serves me right, and he'd scored a lot of goals and had assists. So he's not just essentially a good player. He's good in the wide areas as well, and coming in off the wide areas. So I would want his attributes to be used further ahead as to having them defensively, because they would maybe be needing them up top if we're not able to hold the ball up or play in the final third as much as we'll maybe need to. And in periods of the game last week, we failed to sometimes do that against them away. So that's kind of
he's another one who's beginning to get a run of games as well.
Yeah,
in a settled position, and like you say, Dean, I love it how he's just not afraid to have a shot from anywhere. It seemed to be our Achilles heel for quite a while that we didn't seem to have anyone who had the ability to shoot from outside the box, and we've now got Lawrence, Diamande, Lundstrom. He's.
I would be quite happy if John Lundstrom never had a shot at goal again. He's got a Rangers tap on. He's absolutely hotching it, taking a shot from outside the box.
I said tomorrow night he's pinging one from 30 yards now. Scotty, you've said that.
No, he's not. No, he's definitely not, mate. He's definitely not. The only shot I've seen John Lundstrom score from outside the box, I think it was against Dunfermline in the Cup, and it might have been his first goal for Rangers.
There was one a couple of seasons ago against Hearts as well at Ibrox, where we drew 1-1. I think it was Gerrard's last game. Then got on the train to Aston Villa, I think straight afterwards. So,
but you see, quickly on that, just quickly made a point there about us being starved of not having anybody to do that, which is true. But I actually believe Glenn Kamara can do that. He just, notice every time he scored, they were outside the box, weren't they? And his head just you'd see it just blown up and didn't know what to do. It's almost like he didn't have that belief in his own ability. And I mean, that goal he scored against Leipzig, it was just
passed it in, didn't he?
So he actually believed he did have that in his locker, and I don't think he just had the belief, because he just didn't. Even when he got the ball in the final third, he didn't. It was never on goal. It was who can he pass to? Anyway, it was just something I've always thought.
Dean, I'll stay on you right quickly. Curry's asked a question he put initially, would you maybe play Cantwell off the left? But he's actually says, would you play Cantwell off the right? Obviously, when Clement come in, he try to utilise Todd Cantwell in that role. Do you think that's something we could maybe see tomorrow night in order to get Diamande and Lawrence and Cantwell on the one team? It's a decent question, isn't it?
It's a hard one because he hauled him off after, 37 minutes or something like that.
Aye, that's right.
And I mean, I think he made the point of saying about the time he brought him off, it was all in good grace, and there was all these snippets that fell out and all the rest. It was a lot of shite,
Aye.
but it was just an automatic player reaction to coming off after 37 minutes. Anybody would be pissed off, irrespective of how you've played. So came off and obviously never put him back there. So I think it'd maybe be a bit of a gamble to put him there when he's no really had much success there. But at the time he was playing wide right, was Tav maybe playing more on the byline? And I think
so.
Aye, so Tav is actually coming in a lot more invented now, isn't he? You actually see him quite inside. So if Cantwell's, willing to play wide and beyond the touchline, then that it could maybe work that way. But I would have to be a massive gamble to do that, I think.
Thommo, I'm going to come to you on the next part because Stuart says he would play Cantwell now, right? Have Lawrence and Tom Lawrence in the 10 and have them interchanging. I think this is actually a not bad idea, to be fair, because we've seen Todd Cantwell, Tom Lawrence used to be able to play on the left, off the left at Derby. And I think in order to win this match, you need to get all your best players in the team. If we're prioritising this competition the way Clermont says he is going forward, he's prioritising every competition. Do you think it's something that we can see with them interchanging? Or?
Yeah, potentially. I just think going back to what Dean said there when Cantwell was taken off, he was taken off because he wasn't listening to what Clermont wanted him to do. And I think being on that right-hand side, he needs to be really disciplined. And I just think Cantwell just needs to be told to go out on the pitch and do what you want, go where you want, do what you want. And you saw how good the fullbacks were last week. Fabio Silva was getting back and helping Ridvan out. That's going to have to be the same again. So it could work. And they're both very good players, but I would have Matondo in there as well, just again for his pace, for that out ball. If we take him out, we're looking very light on pace up front in the forward areas. Dessers will work hard and he will get around about the centre backs, but we're struggling for an out ball, I think, without that quick pace. But I do think we'll see Cantwell at some point tomorrow night, and yeah.
Cool. Dean, I think it's fair to say last week's match in the first leg, I felt as if Benfica didn't really put a stamp on the match. I felt there wasn't really a period of time where they've shown that they were a better team than Rangers. Essentially, I feel as if we nullified their attacking threat really well. Didn't they really think they were a better team? Can you see them coming to Ibrox tomorrow night with a point to prove?
Big time. And I think the player reaction at the final whistle, they were all greeting and bitching to the referee about obviously thinking that they were hard done by. There was, just whatever. So yeah, definitely think they'll be coming to Ibrox with a point to prove because they were, although they drew, it was almost like they'd been beaten in terms of their reaction. Whereas if we drew 2-2 at home in Europe, right, and we were going to win the second leg, we wouldn't be like that. The players would be thinking, oh, do you know what, we'll go away and we'll get a result. Whereas, so I do think that they felt hard done by with obviously the refereeing decisions and whatnot. And to be fair, the referee let them off an awful lot with the play acting and the simulation and things like that. And like one of my pet hates is somebody gets a throw in and then they go up the line about 20 yards. And I'm pretty sure they've done that once or twice. Just be things like that the referee and never really picked up on or made a point of. So yeah, I do feel that they'll be coming with a chip on both shoulders tomorrow night.
Fair enough. I'm actually wondering if Angel Di Maria's asked to get rested at the weekend. I think he wants a good run at us. Right, I'm going to ask you a quick question before we get into the next part of the pod, and I just want a quick answer off you. Thommo, how far can we go in this competition with the squad currently as it is?
That is a tough one. My heart says we can win it, but my head says with the teams that are still left in, if we can get a favourable draw, semi-finals.
Semi-finals, right. Dean, see with the injuries we've got just now, how far can we go?
I would. You've got to semi-finals too. That's my
semi-finals.
That's my limit as well. Aye.
Right, now I'm going to pull this up. So Ross has made this for us, and it's basically a full squad, right? So you've got Butland and McCrory, you've got Goldson and Balogun, Tav and Sterling. Now, Sterling you could put anywhere on that pitch, but we've put him at right back just now because that's his position. Suter and Davies, Ridvan and Barisic, Diamonde Raskin, John Lundstrom and Jack, Tom Lawrence, Todd Cantwell, Rabbi Matondo and Sima, Fabio Silva, Oscar Cortez, Dessers and Danilo. Thommo, I'm going to ask you again now. If that squad's fully fit after the international break, which it's not going to be, but if it is, how far can Rangers go with that squad? How good is it?
It is a very good squad, but you just look at the teams that are still left in it, like Liverpool, Bayer Leverkusen. To get to the final and win it, you're going to have to beat at least one, maybe even two of them. And I just don't think we've got the quality to do that. I think they're just a different level. But again, over a two-legged game, who knows? But when you see that there and the players that we've got out injured, it's phenomenal that we are where we are in terms of being this far in Europe, top of the league, semi-final of the cup, and obviously we've already got the League Cup in the bag. So we get players back after the international break. I think we've got nothing to fear. As I said, just unfortunately think there's a couple of teams left in the competition that are just on a different level to everyone else that's even left in the competition.
That's fair enough. Dean, does it change your perspective at all?
Maybe, I don't know. It's a hard one, like, guys, because we do. I mean, looking at those players, we know what these players can do on the big stage. Like, I mean, when you got some of these players, when we went to Dortmund and we destroyed them in their own backyard, like they had Jude Bellingham playing for them in the middle of the park. Do you know? I'm just like, Liverpool. I've got world class superstars. So by Leverkusen, there's no diddy teams, there's no diddy players. The Italian sides, that I think the Serie A is probably in one of the best places it's been for a while in terms of how good their teams are. So, we have those players fit. You would like to fancy your chances against them. I mean, as I say, we know what the players can do from goalkeeper to top.
Right, well, let me cut in with a two-part question for you, and give me just a quick answer on the first one. Is this squad better than the team that went to Europa final?
That's a tough one, man. Oh, mate.
If you think about it, you've got Cortez, Silva, Sima, Matondo on either wing. I would probably say Morelos is still better than Dessers. I'll always say that. But in terms of his squad, I mean, I think it is stronger because of the players we've got. I think we've got better players in our squad. It's just with the injury situation just now.
Aye.
What about you?
You're probably right there. But see, that Kent was phenomenal and really was. He was absolutely brilliant. We had such a good.
He was untouchable in that run.
Stephen Davis was, in fact, he was brilliant, wasn't he, in the middle of the park for us, and the way that, but probably looking at this team, you would say that it's better, even though we had Aaron Ramsey and Diallo.
Right, so if you changed your mind now that we can get to the final, no?
Aye. Change my mind now.
But what you need to think about is the run we had to the final. You had teams like Braga, Red Star Belgrade and all that. Like RB Leipzig won the mugs, but we had a thing about beating German teams on the run to the final or something that year. Thommo, same question to you, mate. Now that I've pure terrorised Dean on it, what's your take on it?
I think that squad there you've put up, Scotty, is better than the squad that was in the actual final, because we were missing obviously Moreles in the final, and we were starting Scott Wright. So that squad there, yeah, I would have said that would be better than the one that started the final. But the overall run, as Dean said, and yourself, Kent was phenomenal. Still got a lot of players there: Lundstrom, Jack, Goldson, Tav, who have got that experience. But as I say, I think that team that got to the final, that squad that got to the final, might just shade it for me. I think they were phenomenal in beating the teams that we did, especially Leipzig and Dortmund. It was something special. But you never know. Beat Benfica tomorrow. Beat Liverpool, Leverkusen, Roma. Yeah.
Well, I've just got a kind of last 16 up just now, and I'm looking at it. The run is definitely not the same as what it was when we made the final. I mean, you've still got teams like AC Milan, Villarreal, Marseille, West Ham, Freiburg, Atalanta, Sporting. They're no mugs. Bayer Leverkusen, Roma. They're pretty much through. They beat Brighton 5-0. Liverpool. I mean, it's just endless quality. It's endless quality.
I mean, if you wanted to handpick who we'd get if we go through, you would probably say, well, Karabakh drew 2-2 with Leverkusen, but you expect Leverkusen to go through there. But then Freiburg are winning against West Ham. So, if we get through, get a draw against Freiburg, who, are beatable, you're then into the semi-finals, and who knows after that. So, like I say, Matt, keeping the faith, keeping the heart going, and yeah, I believe in this team until they give me reason not to.
I just wanted to really pull a squad up and have a look at actually how much quality you've got in it. I mean, see Leon Balogun, he was brought in for a role this season to play as a backup centre-back, and any time he's come in, he's done it to good effect. It doesn't look any slower than what he was when he was here under Gio. I think that's fair to say. I would give him another year. I don't know about you boys, but
yeah, if there's nobody better coming in, then definitely. I mean, and you've got your strikers there. He's been injured for a while, but Roof's back in contention. And I would say a fully fit Roof is probably the best centre forward we have. So again, even tomorrow night, get half an hour out of him. It wouldn't surprise me if he pops up with a winner at some point. He's just deadly in and around the box. So we have, when you put the slide up, we have got a very good squad, and just need to start getting bodies back now.
Aye, definitely, mate. Definitely. Didn't you want to come in?
But when we got to the final, we were, I mean, I can't actually remember a time when we didn't have an injury crisis, but we just like our wounds and we got on with it, don't we? Because we got to the final without a striker. And, all the players were just running to the ground and seemed to find second, third, fourth wins. And that season, it was all, I'm pretty sure that there was a big hype about it being a Battle of Britain final, because West Ham beat Barcelona and then they got knocked out by Frankfurt, which everybody was expecting. Yeah. So there was some quality sides in that run to the Champions League final, and I'm pretty sure I remember reading something that Leipzig had a value of about 300 million, and our value was 30 million, just for the financial disparity of the dynamics of us getting to the final. So, I'm given what we did then and noticing notable, obviously, on the players that were there. Who's to say we can't do it, because when that draw was made, not one person thought we'd beat Dortmund. A lot of people thought that we'd get beat by Benfica on Thursday, but we didn't. So, let's just take a game at a time, but we can definitely do well. And if those players do come back and they can be as good as they were before they got injured, then really, who knows?
Aye, definitely. Right, your trivia question for tonight comments. I get this off our other podder, Stevie. He's kind of Google this one. How many bricks were used to build Ibrox? Good luck, and I'll see you at full time. So, Thommo, what's your thoughts in the morning night overall? Now that we've had a good chat, a good squad review, a wee bit of analysis of Benfica. What's your predictions? What are you going for?
I think we will go through, but I think it might take extra time. Got a feeling it'll be a score draw after 90 minutes, and I think I'm going to put my head on the block here. I think Kamar Roof will pop up with the winner and get us through. No doubt we'll have a couple of VAR incidents throughout the game, but yeah, I think we'll do it.
Have we got the legs for extra time? We get fitness?
I think so. Yeah, as I say, 2 games to go before an international break. These players are professional athletes. Go and empty the tank. Get us through. Have a wee break after Sunday.
Fair enough. Dean, what about you?
I think 1-1 after full time, 2-1 after extra time. Let's say.
I think you're getting Curry a heart attack, Thommo.
Why do you think I've got no hair? Do you know what I mean? It's, yeah. I don't know if I could hack it myself, but yeah, I think I'm going to have to go with my head rather than my heart. Heart says 5-0. 5-0 after 15 minutes. Game's done, but yeah, no, I think it'll be a long night.
Tight game. I'll be a tight game.
I'm
pretty confident of that, aye. And we'll win. Aye, 2-1. 2-1 after extra time.
2-1 after extra time.
Aye. What about you?
I've got a feeling Angel Di Maria is going to come out with a point to prove him tomorrow night. We've not got Dujon Bassett to keep him quiet. It's a big loss tomorrow night not having Sterling in it. It really is. Dujon Sterling on this European run, I think that we could potentially have would have been Calvin Bassey. I think he's just an athlete, and that's what we need. I think the way Curry's hitting, they're 2-1 either way. I think it's going to be tight. I think we're going to see a real Benfica turn up at Ibrox tomorrow night. I think what we seen was a team that had just come off a really bad result against their rivals. They were hurting. They didn't react in the right way, right enough. So, but I think they're going to come tomorrow night and really shows their quality. But I'm going to go a 2-0 Rangers win. It'll be tight, but 2-0 Rangers win. So, is that you, boys? You just want to say your thank yous and goodbyes and we'll wrap up?
Aye. Yeah, once again, thanks for having me. Thank you again to the people that watch, that have been getting involved in the chat, and keep subscribing, keep telling your friends about the Rangers Journal. Lots of good content coming out and lots of stuff planned for the coming weeks and months. So, yeah, so it's a great podcast. Please, as I say, keep telling your friends. A lot of hard work goes in behind the scenes, and yeah, hopefully we get the right result tomorrow, and you're happy come Friday's preview for the Dundee game.
If anybody's interested in conspiracy theories and all that jargon, with a good pod with Jeff Winter, a former EPL referee, on Monday night, you should really head over and check it out. He puts some good perspective on refereeing in Scottish football for everybody. Right, Dean, over to you, mate. I think you've got an interview this week. Have you not, Dean?
Aye, I have. Aye. So thanks very much for watching, everybody. Absolutely buzzing out my tits that I'm interviewing Andy Firth tomorrow to chat about all things Rangers and his thoughts and opinions on Super Jack Butland being England's #1 come the Euros. So yeah, look out on the channel for it, and like and subscribe, share, do all that you do for everything else, and it's greatly appreciated for tuning in for us for the last 45 minutes.
I'm going to give one last plug for Corey, mate. Thank you for coming in comments tonight. You're a moderator for a chat now as well. It's appreciated. I appreciate our moderators help keeping the chat nice and tidy and giving us a degree of protection. Everybody should head over to Stan's Ibrox and give us guys a podcast a subscription, because it's good quality content you get. It's just a Rangers fan talking about a club he loves. and he's got special guests on as well. So, Curry, you'll be happy I've done that for you. Just want to say thank you for everybody for tuning in. Hopefully we get the right result tomorrow night. Remember, it's a 5:45 kickoff. Don't miss it. Hopefully we get through to the last 8 and then we can go on and get a job done against Dundee. And then the players can get a well-earned rest. This was brought to you in association with Mano and Inverclyde Suicide Prevention Services. If you need them, please reach out to them. And take care, and we'll catch you on Friday at 7:30.